I spoke to the Foreign Minister before he jumped on a plane in Manila a few hours ago, and I started by asking him about Egypt. There have been riots there, and it looks as though the military may intervene. I asked him, is it distressing to see this?
Yes, they have indeed. We've got two interests in this. We've got many Australians with Egyptian backgrounds, and we wish well for the country they came from and about which they still care. And second, we've got a great concern that the Arab people should be able to have what Australians enjoy, and that is the opportunity to choose their own rulers, the opportunity to become robust democracies.
And, of course, once again, the Arab Spring turns out to have a bit of nastiness about it too, doesn't it?
Yes, and I suppose we've got to revisit the warnings that people made when the Arab Spring first began to develop and attract the world's interest, and that is that Western Europe, the United States, didn't become strong democracies overnight. There's a long period of transition. We hope that the transition for the people of the Arab world is not going to be a long one, but we've got to remember that, like Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, these countries came from decades of one-man rule being passed on to the son of that powerful military leader who held all power, who held sway over his people. It's hard to get beyond that, but I hope there aren't too many more roadblocks. We want it to be a successful transition.
Senator Carr, on asylum seekers, what did you base your statement that so many were economic refugees when we haven't actually processed any asylum seekers for almost a year? What did you base your statements on?
On a number of things. First of all the Sri Lankans who've come here, I think the last year 1,200 has been screened and sent back to Sri Lanka. The reason that happened was they weren't even making claims for being refugees. They admitted they were coming to Australia to improve their economic situation. In other words, there has been a shift in the profile of the people coming here. From Iran, for example, you've got people who have middle-class backgrounds, who are from the majority ethnic and religious group in that country, and again, people who, being able to afford $10,000 a head payments to people smugglers, again, reflect a changing profile. And I think we've got to take account of that.
But hang on, Senator, just...
I'm going to give you some more evidence.
Yep.
And you got the evidence from the boat that arrived. I've got a list of arrivals here. You've got the evidence from the boat that arrived with Sri Lankans on May 5. 63 Sri Lankans, all of them screened, and every one of the 63 found not to be asylum seekers, but people seeking to improve their economic situation. I'm going to put it this way, and I'm going to choose my words very carefully. In recent times, and this is what I've been saying, and I'm not prejudging individual claims, that's for the Immigration Department officials who undertake initial assessments, and ultimately the tribunal and courts. But in recent times, the profile of the current arrivals, Iranians, Sri Lankans, and Vietnamese, has shifted. There's been a very noticeable change.
But you've quoted a figure of 1,200 there, but there have been 20,000 others who are sitting unable to have their claims processed. So 1,200 out of 20,000 is still not a large number, is it? So you're basing it on a small percentage.
Yes, but the logic of your position is that anyone who comes to Australia brought here by a people smuggler, is of necessity a genuine refugee. And that's what I'm taking issue with. I'm pointing to evidence, and there's a lot more of it, of a change in the profile of the people arriving. I'm pointing, secondly, to the fact that in 100% of cases, the people coming here are being brought here by people smugglers. They're not people who've cobbled together money in a port and done it in a hurry because they're fleeing persecution and reached some deal with a local fisherman to get out on the high seas. They're people who've paid money to a criminal racket, syndicates of people smugglers. And the other point I make is that there's been a big rise It was okay when there were 3,000 arrivals a year for Australians, well-meaning Australians, generous Australians, to say, well, what does it matter if we simply allow them to slide into the population? But now, when you've got 30,000 arriving, every one of them brought here by a people smuggling operation, a criminal operation, and evidence of a shift in the profile, the nature of the people coming here, then you've got to think again. And that's what the government is doing. And I think it's entirely appropriate we do it. If you took your approach and said, well, they're coming here, we've got to make an assumption they're refugees, that would be 30,000 a year that we'd allow to slide into the country, and that dislodges your regular immigration program.
Senator, my position was...
You sought the interview. You told my staff you wanted an interview on Egypt. It was only on Egypt. Now you've moved on to people smuggling. I've said as much as I'm going to do on that. If you told me it was going to be an interview on people smuggling, then I would have referred you to the Minister for Immigration, Tony Burke, who'd be happy to go through it in more detail. But I stand by what I've said, and I just draw your attention. I just underline again the focus I'm taking, which is that shift in the profile. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks.
You have actually in the past made these... Senator Carr, the Foreign Affairs Minister, clearly unhappy.